evening, everybody, and welcome along to another live show. Here we are. It's Sunday at 6, and tonight we're going to be talking about community gardening. Now, hopefully everyone is out there, because I saw there was a load of comments on the screen before we went live, and they've all just disappeared. So if everybody could just repeat what they said, I'll be able to welcome you to the show. Anyway, how are we all doing? How is everything going? Are you all keeping yourselves busy? Have you had a lot of fun in the garden this week? I can see a couple of comments coming in, so I can start saying hello to everybody. We've got Digwell's there saying, yo, dudes and dudettes. How you doing, my friend? Hope you are well. Andrew Norris is there. Hello, everyone. I'm amazed I arrived at the beginning. Lovely to see you, Andrew. How are things over in Croatia? How is the garden coming along? Kate Spratt is there saying, good evening, Veg Army. Good evening to you. Hope you are well. Lovely to see you. Billy SBB is there saying, hello, everyone. Hello to you. Hope you are well. So let's have a quick check on Instagram. Octopod Kayaks has joined. Tom Smith has joined. And View from a Lake has also joined. Lovely to see you. Please do join in this conversation. Stuart Jackson is there saying, evening, Richard and the Veg Army. Another busy day in the garden and my last plant sale of the year yesterday. Stuart, how much have you raised for your charity this year with your plant sales? As this is the last one, it must be about that time that you can say so. Turbo Streamers there saying, good evening, Veg Podcasters. Take two. I don't know what happened. The piece of equipment I use have just changed things around. We should, in theory, be streaming in HD tonight. Excuse me. Perhaps you can tell me if it is streaming in HD. Anna Jones is saying, good evening, gardeners. Good evening to you. Jenny is there. Hello, everyone. Hope you've all had a great week. Good evening to you. Andrew says, we have been involved with the grape harvest. The grapes are now fermenting nicely. Is that fermenting into wine? Of course it is. We have got Gary is there saying, good evening, all. Good evening to you. Turbo Stream, the early attendees were deleted, never to be seen again. It's annoying that, because I always like to see the early attendees, because it means I know that something has gone right. And then I literally clicked off the comment screen. This means nothing, I know, but and when I went back, all the comments are gone. HD with Andrew, excellent. That is good. Stuart Jackson says £1,200, sorry, which brings us up to just over £19,000 in total. That's fantastic news, isn't it? Absolutely brilliant to have earned that much money for your chosen charity, which is, of course, the Brain Tumor Charity, if I'm not mistaken. Rebecca's there saying, good evening, Richard. Good evening to you. How are you? Now, of course, please do keep adding your comments. You do make the show after all. And what we can also do, because I've sort of set this back up, you can zap in if you want to join us on the screen as well. So what I want to say today, what I want to talk about today is, of course, community gardening. Today I spent the day chatting to a community gardener. He's in charge of several community gardens in my area, all under one umbrella. We've got an allotment plot on my allotment site. We've got a community orchard. We've got a community small holding, which is in a school, several other community allotments on other allotment plots, and also a courtyard garden in a charity, homeless charity. And I went in there, I interviewed him. I was going to put this podcast out tomorrow. It's going to come out the week after, because there's so much of it. I can't pack it into one segment. It's going to have to be a whole podcast for this thing. But it's got me wondering, have any of you ever got involved in a community garden? Or is it something you would like to do? Let us know in the comments. And I'll go back and see what everybody is saying. So, TurboStream saying, good effort, Stuart. That's fantastic news. Of course it is. Lots of money. Jenny also saying that is amazing, Stuart. Well done. Digwell has come up with some sort of information there. Stuart is saying, yes, the picture is great, excellent. And live mode manifest optimized for low latency for Digwell. He's done some checks and told us some things which mean absolutely nothing to me. Anna Jones is also saying fantastic to Stuart Jackson. Stuart Jackson is saying thank you to everyone. TurboStream says, of course, he prefers the low res version. Tough is all I've got to say. I want to go in HD where I can. Stuart says, if anyone is part of a community garden, don't forget to write to as many companies as possible, as they are always happy to help out with free stuff. Now, this is something I was talking to this gardener today about, not so much writing about to the companies, but I wanted to find out what was one of the hardest challenges. And I thought actually funding would be up there, things like that. But what I've discovered is that because they got the local council on their side, they have been thrown a load of stuff to help them, grants and things like that. But they were also land. I thought land was going to be the biggest issue when it comes to community garden. But as I said, they've been thrown so much land. They're taking on a new allotment plot on my site, basically because somebody it's neglected and people will not take it on. So they've been offered another one, like an orchard type thing. Lots and lots of ideas were coming out of there. Over on Instagram, Stafford Justice and Peace 2017 has joined, and Chambers Farm Flowers have joined as well. Kate says, well done, Stuart. Jenny says, I ran a community garden, found hard to get people to commit due to location. It was on a Harry Kishmer farm. So I think people were worried they were going to get bombarded with religious beliefs, etc., etc. So this actually brings me up quite nicely because I thought getting people involved would be the difficult thing. And from what I've understood, it has been a little bit tricky. Our community garden tends to do things during the week, which I've sort of said I think it would be much, much, much better to do things on the weekend. More people about, more people free. But when they've done workshops and gardening days on the weekend, and actually they've had less people turn up on the weekend for some reason. So I have to admit I was wrong on that. But the location for these community gardens on my allotment site, of course, it's under the lock and key, so it's very difficult for them to get anybody in without a key. The one in the schools, of course, they have a lot of issues. But a community garden is open to everyone, so anybody can go along and do their sort of thing there. The community orchard, that is. So very, very open. Anybody can pop along and join in. There was also another allotment that they have in the neighbouring village that we went to. And that one was in an allotment site, but the allotment gate is never locked, so anybody can come in and out. So it was interesting, very interesting, the difference in sites and how access was easy to overcome. Toby Stu says, I'm not involved with a community garden unless an allotment counts. Funnily enough, this is something I was thinking about because I often hear when people try to describe an allotment to our American audience, it's always defined as a community garden, which I don't think an allotment is really a community garden in my mind. To me, a community garden is somewhere where everybody is helping out, working on one garden. An allotment is lots of different people each having their own patch. That's, I think, the difference. I could be wrong, but I think that is the difference. What do you think on that? Jenny says, very much for anyone, religion was not the agenda. It was organic, healthy produce to share and garden support with each other. So that's going on about this site on the Harry Krishna place. Adrian is there saying hello to Richard and all. Hello to you. Rob is saying good evening all. Good evening to you. Stuart Jackson says our schools rely on donations from company. The only thing I will say is I set up a committee ASAP to stop any problems. So, I mean, again, I did think the company sort of way down, apart from a nursery, are one that I've discovered. Um, they got a very close tie-in with a nursery, which does do a lot of community gardening anyway. But they don't really want to get brands and things like that and companies involved, apart from the charities that are involved, because that opens up a lot more grants, as I understand it. So they've got the Littlehampton Lions Club, which there's a lot of politics that go on. A lot of people, a lot of the council can't get involved in things. They can back them, but they can't get involved in things for some weird reason. But if it's involved with the Lions, then they can back it, as I understand it. It's really complicated politics going on there. Jenny says, I firmly believe there should be community garden in hospitals for patients and their relatives. I've spent a lot of time in hospital this year, and it certainly would have helped me. I totally agree with that, actually. I think there should be community gardens in hospitals, hospices. I've worked in nursing homes that have community gardens as well. And again, I think they should be. I think gardens should be everywhere anyway. There's certainly a lot more good things that I think a nice, healthy, fresh garden can do for a lot of people who are struggling. In a hospital, it's nice to get out in some, what was that beep? Nice to get out in some fresh air and enjoy some nice flowers, fresh fruit, and so on. Just for the best part of getting in hospital, isn't it? Getting out of hospital. Tabby Stream says there is a community garden in Northfield, 2 miles away, but it is always closed. I have never seen anyone there. No obvious way to contact them. I googled it and didn't find any info. Now, this is actually something that I find quite interesting, actually, because this is something that I found with a lot of our community gardens that I've come across. Is that it's very difficult to find anybody who's actually running it, who's involved in it, who can point us in the right direction or say, yeah, I want to help. How can I get involved? Um, so I definitely do think communication is an issue. I have found ours to have quite good social media coverage, and that's how I discovered them. But even the community orchard, there's a lot of people who live around here don't know it exists. They can go along there any time and pick an apple if it's ready, of course, but they can go and use it any time. But because it's not known of, so much of this fruit goes to waste and is thrown away, which I think is very, very wrong. But at the same time, it's there. We've got to draw attention to it. I think social media has a big thing in helping people find it, but there needs to be more. There really, really does. Over on Instagram, Kev Moo Liverpool has joined. Welcome along. Hope you are well. Digwell is asking Jenny if she is psychic. Is that talking about the gardens in hospitals? I agree. I totally agree. Turbo Stream says our allotment has become a friendly society, which I think opens up more opportunities in the community. Now, I have to say, I do think allotments have a lot to offer our local community as well. Well, one of the things we know with allotments is that they are well known for having the highest amount of different wildlife, different varieties of wildlife, different species is the word I'm looking for, because allotments are all different. Nobody's growing the same varieties of anything. So we've got the wildlife aspect to the allotments, but also the nature aspect to the allotments. But also they are a hub. We go on our allotment and I mix with people of different ages, different skill levels, different generations, and we have a great conversation amongst ourselves. Most of the time, there are of course a few people who are a little bit dodgy, shall we say, such as stealing some beds. Not that I've not let that go, of course. Quick sweep. But yeah, there is allotments, I think, have a big part to play in the community. Yesterday, in sort of related to this, we had our town show, and I went along there. It was a great show. I was actually on our camera club stand most of the day, but I did have a look around and see what was going on. Now, the community garden had their own stand, their own table going on there, but Our allotment society didn't. There was not much saying about our allotments other than the town council. And inside the marquee, where we have, of course, people who have entered all the competitions to try the best potatoes and that sort of thing. I poked my head in there. I didn't enter this year. I just ran out of time to really think about it. But there was not much going on. I could have easily entered every category and probably came away with quite a few prizes. So, lesson learned for next time. Jenny says yes. Yes, talking about. I think I don't know. I don't know. Tabby Stream, it's sometimes the case with community things. If you know, you know, sort of thing. I agree. I've often found that community, when you put the word community in front of anything, it seems to have problems where it just doesn't quite go to plan. It just doesn't seem right, does it? There's a lot more that we could have done when it comes to community gardening, and so on. Digwell says my posts are being skipped again. I don't know what's going on there. I'm gonna see if I can pull up my phone and see if I can see anything going on over there then, because I don't know what's going on. Because well, let's see what have we got. I can't because I don't want to miss anybody's comments. As you know, I don't want to miss anybody's comments. But what I do want to do is include everyone in this community gardening good project. Right. Let's see it. See. I can't see any on that either. Top messages. I wonder if that's the problem. How do I change that? I'm not going to get into that because I've got to try and talk to you guys, haven't I? I hate doing that. So, Jenny says I do. What's happening there? What have I missed? What have I missed? Let's have a quick look on Instagram and see if, in case anybody is saying anything over there. Anybody saying anything over there? Nothing being said over there. Never mind. Now, so let's throw out another question that I want to ask you. Not many of you, apart from Jenny, has been involved in any community garden. How many of you know of a community garden project near you? Turbo Stream, of course, does. Anybody else know of a community garden that is near you that is going on or anything like that? Idaho has joined. Hello, Richard and everyone. Hello to you. Community. We are talking about community gardens, something that I want to get more involved in as we go on throughout this the Veg Grow podcast journey. Now, I'm very lucky in my job that I do travel around the country. I go to different towns and different villages, and I often do see community garden projects going on. And sometimes they're in the scrappiest of places, the tiniest of spaces that the ground, it's not the best ground, it's not the best growing space, but they're making the most of it because it is a community project going on. So where Rob was asking something to Digwell. What was those photos you hosted in your last video? Wink wink, I know what's going on there. Mark Green. Is that the Mark Green from Littlehampton? Is that the Mark Green from Littlehampton? Are you the one I'm thinking of? Hello, mate. Not heard anything like that around here. If so, there is. There's a community orchard and the community gardens as well. Seriously, go and check them out because I've had a great day chatting to them today. Trying to show you on your on your Facebook group. Is that a? Let's have a look. See if I can see it. If it's come through or anything. Is this a photo of your? What's going on? There we go. All right. I can show that. So you can just about see that. That circled area is a garden, a community garden in Digwell's local hospital, which just goes to show that it can be done. Excellent stuff. I think that's what Digwell's trying to say, but there's apparently comments going missing. Jenny said, you said, I don't know what's going on. Me being psychic. I said, I do. Okay, I'm with you. I'm with you. I've been a little bit slow. A little bit slow. Digwell says, red ones, answering the question about those potatoes. Rob says, thank you, mate. Hi, Rob. It is the Mark Green I was thinking of. Thank you very much, buddy. Yeah, Maltravers. There's a community orchard down there. There's community gardening going on at Turning Tides and a few allotments in Littlehampton and Angmering. Go check them out. They've got a Facebook group. Obviously, wait until after this show. But Maltravers, particularly behind the Bowling Green in the far corner, there's a community orchard. Go help yourself to some apples when you have the chance. Stuart Jackson, yes, we have one near me, Twigs Community Garden. It's been around for a long time. They help people that need extra help with schools, etc., plus young adults. Excellent stuff. Now, one thing that I know about with our community orchard, they work with a local charity called Turning Tides, which is for homeless people. And in our community orchard, there was a tent there with a couple of homeless people. Now, when I was talking to the guy on the podcast earlier today, which you'll hear in a couple of weeks' time, he was a little bit worried about discussing them. But for me, it kind of signified why we need community gardens. There's people there, they don't even have a house, they're living out of a tent. The least we can do is provide them with some good, nutritious food. Community gardens are exactly for that reason as well. One of the reasons, I should say. Idaho says, I don't know about any community garden here. Right, okay, I'll come to that in a moment. Tabby Stream says, that garden I mentioned is on a small plot next to the A38 and little or no open ground. So they're growing in tyres and raised beds, etc., etc. When I've been in Colchester in the past, actually, talking of little or no open ground, they've done like pop-up gardens, pop-up community gardens, where basically they've got raised beds in large on wheels, basically. And when they get given a bit of space that is empty, they grow on that. And then when they have to give that space up, because they're on wheels, they can easily move them on to the next place. I think there's some great thinking going on by here. Digwell says, I wonder why the 3 posts about it are missing. I have no idea, Digwell. I don't think the internet likes you anymore, Digwell, because they keep deleting things that you post. I certainly am not doing anything on my end, and I cannot see anything get deleted. Yes, it's a mess garden. Hello, everyone. Kathy from Houston, Texas. Happy to catch another live. Happy to see you there, Kathy. Hope you are well. We're talking about community gardens. Have you got a community garden near you? Have you helped in a community garden? Mark Green says, I will have to find out more about the orchard, etc. Cheers. Please go have a look. It really is fascinating and could really do with all the help that they can get. Turbo Stream, I've had a post disappear too, Digwell. Probably Google auto delete certain words. I want to say I've never had to add any blocking words or anything like that on any of these chats or anything that I do. I very much wanted people to speak freely, so I've not blocked anything. Any links get deleted in the chat straight away. Okay, there we go. Maybe links. But yeah, I can put a link up. We have quite a few in Nottingham, which is fab. I've done workshops with different ones. Kate, tell us more about your ones in Nottingham. What are they like? What are they? Are they run well? Are you involved in them? Tell us more. Tell us more. Maybe the mention of the social media site. Maybe. I don't know. Perhaps we have to run a test. Nicholas says, evening, Richard and all. Sorry I'm late. Chicken's misbehaving and not wanting to go to bed. It's still a little light here, so I'm not surprised. Give them another hour and they'll go to bed. Time Extreme, as a result, that community garden looks a mess, to be honest. Not sure I would eat any food from that plot so close to a really busy road. You know, that is a fair point, because I've often wanted, and you know what I mean, I want to grow food everywhere. I want everything to be grown as food, and I would look at a tiny bit of space, and I would grow food, including roundabouts or the grass verges by the side of the road. But fumes and things is a valid argument, and it does worry me. But at the end of the day, even farms are alongside roads these days, so you can't really get away from it very easy. Uh, Kathy, is it Kathy? I'm just going to go double check. Yeah, Kathy, I was right. We do have a community garden, and I have helped occasionally. Tell us more about your community garden. That'd be great, please. Digwa says no links in his post, and he's mentioned the Book of Face test that worked. That worked. I don't know. Turbo Stream, you're on the naughty step, Digwell, after filming Nick Lee. He is. He is. Yeah. I can't believe that happened to you, Digwell. There, it's really bad, wasn't it? They're in as foxes are an issue free ranging. Fair enough. Fair enough. I get you why you want to get them in now. Foxes can be a bit of a problem, can't they, for chickens? Kate says, one is an organic garden group in the allotment, which anyone is welcome to. I volunteer at the Potato Day each year. Now, this is actually that kind of a comment that I wanted to also look down, because the whole thing with community garden is getting involved, getting a community together and getting gardeners to share tips and tricks and help out in the gardens. So this sort of thing, volunteering at Potato Days, I reckon that this is what community gardening is all about. It's about volunteering time, encouraging more people to grow their own food, but volunteering space and things like that. More importantly, it's about community, people coming together to help each other out and enjoying being around each other. I bet there are worse things on commercial vegetables, though. I think you're right. I do think you're right. There was probably much worse things on commercial vegetables. Worse things than what we would like to know about. Chili Gate, hello everyone on the allotment with my friend on his new plot. Sorry I can't join properly. I'm involved in a new community garden. Chili, let us know more about this. Obviously, I know you're busy with your friend, but I'd love to hear more about this. And not tomorrow, but the week after, community garden is on the allotment, on the podcast. Sorry, that I'm looking forward to that one. I really am. Richard, I'll DM you the posts to look at later. Please do, please do. That would be great. I think they just came through there. Nicola has given us a thumbs up. Please do give us a thumbs up if you are enjoying this podcast. Kate says, another I did a fruit tree pruning workshop in, not involved much, has a lot for kids. I remember you talking about your fruit tree pruning, actually, Kate, and this is something that I see a great advantage with community orchards and community garden, is the fact that we can go in there and do these sort of how to prune these trees. That an expert shows us how to do it, and then everyone goes on to do it in other gardens. So again, this is one of the things that I love about the idea of community gardening, is that it involves people. It involves a lot of things going on, which I think is great. Now, we're going to continue with this conversation in just a moment. Let's check on Instagram, actually. Anything going on over there? Gabby Sushi, or Sushi, I don't know how to pronounce that, has joined. Apologies if I pronounced that wrong. And Kate says, and one is an allotment which is the oldest in Europe. They do great heritage tours, open to everyone. They run a fab compost area making workshop. We're going to continue this conversation in just a moment, but first, what I want to do is share with you the cooking video. This was a recipe set a couple of weeks ago. We didn't do it last week, but it's a type of Indian Scotch eggs. So we're going to go to it because I can smell it, and I really want to taste it. So let's go to the video and come back. Well, we're back in the kitchen this week with another recipe. This week, it was chosen to make some Nagas kebab, a type of Indian Scotch egg. Now, we started by boiling up some eggs, and we wanted hard-boiled egg. Now, this is fairly easy to do. I'm sure I don't need to tell you how to do that. But if you keep chickens like me, a top tip is that fresh eggs do not peel very easily. They need to be at least a week old for them to peel. Anyway, we boiled them up in the morning and let them cool all day. And then it came to early afternoon when we started to make these Scotch eggs. First of all, we took 250 grams of mince. I use pork meat for this. We could really use beef or lamb. I wanted to use lamb because I felt that was more realistic. The recipe that I used did suggest to use beef as well, but I didn't think beef and India would go down very well. We added a load of herbs and seasoning. We got garlic, cumin, also some flour and some egg just to bind it all together. We mixed it all up together and then we divided it into 4 balls. Rolled these out into flat pancakes and then wrapped them round a hard-boiled egg. We then took each ball and covered them over in sesame seed before cooking them in a frying pan, just lightly cooking in a hot frying pan, shallow frying. Once they were nice golden brown, we removed them from the heat, and now it's time to see just how well they turned out. So here we go, back in the studio. These are 2 of the Scotch eggs. It made 4 in total, but these are the Scotch eggs there. They came apart a little. They didn't hold together, as you can see here, as well as the other 2. I'm saving the other 2 for lunches. But what does it taste like? That's the question that we need to ask. I mean, that's just a large chunk of meat. Not bad. Not quite what I was expecting, but not bad. Not bad at all. The chili is hitting me because I added some chili to it, but yeah, not quite what I was expecting. Certainly not what your typical Scotch egg, but I can see why it's like that. Not bad. Not bad. A bit of tweaking here and there, and I think it would turn out like something quite fantastic. If you've ever tried these Indian Scotch eggs, let me know. Now, Idaho, coming back to the community garden topic, let's check on Instagram quickly. Nothing going on there. Idaho says, I'm with you, Richard. I think everyone should want to grow food, but I've learned they don't. When I say growing vegetables in my yard, lots of people say, sounds like a worthy cause, but a lot of work. It doesn't need to be a lot of work. I think the biggest problem is that people think it's a lot of work. It really isn't. It's a lifestyle. It's the way I say it. It's a lifestyle and something I thoroughly enjoy. Stuart says, we are all involved in the best community garden in this amazing group. Learn so much every week. I agree. This is a community garden at the end of the day. Every week we come together, plus the group, the Facebook group and everything else that goes on. We are community gardening. My mouth is on fire a little. My plot is near a road. I will be planting barrier plants that help pull pollution, such as alder, sunflower, ferns, etc. Flowers after those, and then vegetables. I think that's actually a way of thinking about it. But on a roundabout something, not going to get much food really. It's a concern, but it's hard to know what to do for the best. Yeah, Kathy says you can rent space and they also have gardening classes. On weekends, you can buy the veggies and other items people bake. Fantastic, fantastic. I have to see some photos or something for that. Would be absolutely brilliant. Again, classes. This seems to be something that keeps popping up and time again. Classes, which I think is quite important. Nicola, one of the ladies I helped on CD Sunday did guerrilla seed scattering with seeds that had lost their packaging or split packaging. Great idea with unloved patches. Yeah, I like the idea of guerrilla gardening, but got to be careful what we say on that because we don't want to break the law. Idaho says, not everyone enjoys growing a garden. I agree with that. Some people just want a lawn that they mow and apply fertilizer. Again, we cannot tell people what they can and can't do with their own garden, their own property. So yeah, I agree with that. But I think everybody should know how to grow their own food. The best thing, though, talking about Kate, who has been helping out these potato days and her community garden. The best thing, though, was helping harvest vegetables and making a communal meal. We all enjoyed it. It was fresh, and the people shared garden tips. Really felt like it was my kind of people. Was fun. Again, our community orchard, something that they're doing. They got an apple day coming up in about 2-3 weeks' time. I'm going to go along to it, but they're going to be taking the apples, they're going to be turning them into juice. I think they should be doing scrumpy though. Scrumpy with those communal scrumpy. How good would that be? Both my neighbours hate gardening, and that sounds amazing. Yes, Turbo. Digwell says a person on our site has 9, yes, 9 at the hospital community pots. I asked him one for him, one for Mrs. A mate down the road got one for him, as did 6 others, taking the PISS in his opinion. I agree. I think it does take the PISS unless nobody is taking them on. And I would say if nobody's taking them on and he is, great. But if somebody else wants them, then he has to be prepared to give him up. Same with allotments. We've got lots of allotment plots that are empty. I'm told there's a waiting list, but all the time they are empty, I think we should be able to use them, but be prepared that we have to give them up. That's how I would run an allotment site anyway. Well, that's a large number of plots, depending on the size of the plotters, of course. Yeah. And it's a pain as I get bindweed over, under, and through the fence from one side. Is that talking about the alongside the road? Yeah. Digwell goes on to say, but there are only so many to share around. He may give some up now that he has a big one on our allotment site. Yeah, there's a lot to unpack with that. Some people are always going to be greedy. They're going to want more and more land, and I would throw myself into that sort of thing as well. I've got 2 half plots on my allotment, one large plot, but my allotment is the same size as my garden, and I think that's about just enough to grow enough of all of our own food. Would I like more? Yes, I would, because I would like to grow an orchard and things like that, grow more apple trees and fruit trees, and try and be self-sufficient in those sort of apples, pears, plums. So but this is where the community orchard comes into play, because actually we can just walk down the road, community orchard right there, and we can then go and help with that. So we've got that on our side. Idaho says it's better to have something grown there as opposed to bindweed, couch grass, and creeping thistle, etc. I agree with that completely. I think if I started clearing my neighbour's allotment, we're not allowed to, but if I did, it would become a productive site. But I would have to be prepared that when somebody comes along and says they want it, I have to say, there it is, it's yours. Unfortunately. Turbo Street, no, Richard, my neighbours won't do gardening. I wouldn't care if their weeds stayed on their side. Sorry, I'm with you now. My brain's not working very well today. But yeah, your neighbours don't do gardening and it impacts on you. A bit like my allotment then. I'm with you now. Yeah, that can be a bit of a problem. That's where you need to, I don't know what to do. Ultimately, it comes back to what I said earlier. We cannot tell people what to do in their own gardens, but when it impacts on you, something might need to be done. I don't know. Yes, it's a mess garden. Have you grown moringa? What's moringa? I've never heard of that one, so I'm going to say I haven't. But I know we sometimes use different names to certain vegetables or plants to what you use. So moringa, I'm probably pronouncing it completely wrong. Anybody knows what it is, let me know. Toby Slim says, if a person who has 9 plots gives away the produce to the hospital, then all good. If they keep it for themselves, then not so good. Well, again, we don't know what they're doing, what's going on, and things like that. There could be lots of unknown things that we don't know about going on there. Digwell sent me So I'm going to read out. Digwell sent me the comments that he's been trying to send me that that he's just said 2 more missing. I think it's not let me show it now. 2 more missing. Strange. Must be your Glee contact. So I'm just reading what he says. Just put a pic on Facebook showing the community garden at my local hospital. Repeat post. Just put a pic on Facebook showing his community garden at his local hospital. That's what he said there. One, and then plunge the hard-boiled eggs into cold water for 1 minute and bang them on the side of a pan to crack the shell over. Leave another 5 minutes and the shell will pull off in one go. That's exactly what I do, actually, or that sort of thing. But when let's go back to the recipe bit. But when it comes to really fresh chicken eggs, and I mean laid that day, they don't peel at all. The actual egg sticks to the shell. They've got to spend a couple of days on the worktop before they can actually peel. So no matter what you do, you cannot peel fresh eggs. Let's see. Personal, I've read that one. I can see that one, so that's something there. That's it. That's all I can see. I don't know why they're not sharing them. It's the fastbook that deletes posts, Digwell, but it's not. It's not. There was one of those didn't even mention it. It was talking about the eggs and things. There's something going on with YouTube, yeah. Digwell says, no, the produce is not used by the hospital because of regulations, traceability, etc., etc. This is one of the downsides, isn't it? In fact, this has got me wondering if we were running a community garden, is this something we're going to have to think about when it comes to giving away all the food that we're producing? Do we have to think about traceability and regulations and things like that? I believe, and I could be wrong here, I believe when we grow our own, we're allowed to give away surplus or even sell surplus. We're just not allowed to grow to sell purposely, but I could be wrong on that. That's my understanding. Kathy says it's a tree full of vitamins and minerals. I dry the leaves and sprinkle on food. It's also called the tree of life. I've got to be honest, I've never heard of it, and I don't know. Could it be the goji berry? Is that another name for it? Because I know that's full of things like that. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, as I say, I've not heard of it, so I can't think of it. I don't even know, haven't even heard of the tree of life. So we could learn something here, couldn't we? Couldn't we? Digwell says, sorry, Miss Miggins, Digwell's courgette did your husband in PMSL. Yeah, exactly right, though, isn't it? And we all know that there has been problems with courgettes in the past where they have high levels of that poison inside them. But that's all down to traceability. It's the same reason we can't take food into a kitchen, into a kitchen for a restaurant. They have to use their own food. Odd a hospital have a community garden or won't accept the produce. Most hospice gardens are for rehabilitation and spare for patients and their families. It's all down to risk here, and the risk that some people or the hospital might get sued and things like that if somebody falls ill. So there's a lot of things that to be careful of here, but that's what it boils down to. The hospital doesn't want to be sued, and they're just trying to cover themselves effectively. Not a goji berry. I wonder what it is. The tree of life. Can anybody have a quick search for me and let me know anything about it? Let's have a quick check on Instagram. Ellis Palmer Babe has joined. Welcome along. Stu Jackson says you can't grow for profit. You can donate fresh produce, but not charge. Yeah, I think you can. You can charge, I guess, to cover your costs. What you're saying there. Rob says I trade surplus veg for tenner at my local pub. And what do they do with them? Do they turn them in? Do they use them in the kitchen for the pub or for their own use? Who knows? Who knows? Turbo Stream, blooming courgettes. The comment I made about courgettes known to poison people. Turbo Stream actually fell victim to that a few years back and became very unwell for dodgy courgettes. So that kind of proves what could happen. And this is one of the risks when it comes to community gardening, I guess, particularly the hospital. Something as simple as a courgette. A courgette grew fine. Turbo Stream didn't even know it was poison until he ate it. And I bet it had a very, very bitter taste. So who knows? Who knows? Well, that's the risk, sorry. And it made him very unwell. The beds are there to aid the recovery of stroke victims, etc. Peace of mind, that sort of thing. There we go. So that's why they are there. And Thomas Stream says, hopefully they help them dig well. I'm sure they do. I mean, there's something always very relaxing about a garden, isn't there? And going in a garden and just, I would hate being in hospital, being unable to get out of bed and go and sit in a garden. I think a couple of minutes in a garden every day would make it worthwhile. I mean, even going into prison, if I couldn't have a garden, I think that would be the worst bit. Not that I have any intention of going to prison, of course, but it would be the worst bit of not being able to get into a garden. Rob says, normally they make vegetable soup or use in the kitchen one way or another. They call the soup Rob's allotment soup. So, yeah. Oh, so they actually use it in the pub. They sell it, or basically what you're saying. I'm surprised they can get away with that, but hey, if it works, it works. Moringa is from the tree of life. It's in my moisturizer. That's why they call it the youth tree. I've never heard of it. Is it something that we call something different here, Rebecca? Or is it just, I don't know. I've never heard of it, so I'm learning something here. Our plan at school is to supply our local pub with the veg we can't use at school. Great advertising for the menu grown by local children. Okay, I would have thought there would be legal things in place, but again, I'm obviously wrong. So thank you. Always lick a courgette, and if it's bitter, then don't eat it. A good way to cleanse one's bowel and digestive tract, if nothing else. Yeah, it's not pleasant, those courgettes, when it happens. Prisons have their own gardens. I know some do, but the one that we have near us, it's actually an open prison, but they actually have like a plant nursery where they are growing and selling plants. But that's an open prison, so I don't think that really counts. But yeah, Turbo Stream, prisons may have gardens, but lately no one to tend them. Yeah. Yes, mate. Obviously, I've never been. That's not true. I was about to say I've never been in a prison. I have been in a prison, but only for work. But I can honestly say I've never seen one. So, apart from our open one. Fletch worked in the prison garden. Who's Fletch? Am I missing something? Let me know. Our pub is community owned, so I don't know if that makes a difference. Possibly. Maybe. Tell me more. Jenny says, when in hospital, our window faced a building taller than ours. All I could see was brick and a fat pigeon. A guard would have made a difference. Busy the hands, calm the mind. I think it would be nice for people to look at as well. Have a nice garden. If you're in hospital, you can't get out of the bed. You can look at it. I think that would help a lot of people too. Rebecca says it's a fast-growing tree native to India. There we go. I've never heard of it. I will look into it when I've finished. So thank you. Fletcher worked in one in Slade Prison. And Mark said, Porridge. Thank you. Now I'm with you, talking about Fletcher from Porridge. Slightly before my time, but I know what you're talking about now. Thank you. So he had a garden in that prison. But that's not a real prison. That was a TV show, wasn't it? Not saying it's not relevant, but yeah. Turbo Stream says, imagine growing some nice veg, then getting released early and no veggies to eat. That's punishment, isn't it? That's punishment right there for you. Turbo Stream says, the 70s TV show Porridge, you're too young, Richard. I vaguely remember it, but yeah, a bit before my time. Moringa has many health benefits, decreases inflammation, reduces pain, used in asthma and diabetes. Can we grow it here? Is it possible to grow in the UK? I'm guessing if it's from India, it's going to need some tropical environments. But India is a big country. There could be areas where it grows that are quite close to the UK. I don't know. I've never heard of it. I'm going to have another bit, talking of India, of this this Indian Scotch egg to see if it tastes any good. Actually got a bit of egg that time, so that's lovely. I'm not sure on that. It's nice. I like the idea of it. I guess I just sort of think it's not a Scotch egg, and in my mind I'm thinking Scotch egg. Rob says, I used to go to a young offenders prison working, and they had a farm on site. I think that's a good idea, actually. I actually, in thinking about it, I don't know anything about prisons. I don't know anything about prisoners, so I'm going to be a very generalizer here. But I think a lot of people go into prison because they have not had any opportunities to really make something of themselves. And I think prison is a great place to try and that's not the right word, a great place to try and make the most of themselves. But I think there's a lot of opportunities if they went into prison to turn a corner and learn a skill such as gardening, and a community garden in prison might actually stop a lot more illegal stuff in the future. I just saw that little bit. So yeah, I think there's something there, isn't there? It may also be called the drumstick tree or the benoil tree. I never heard of it. I say I'm learning something here about this, so this is great. Co-op do great Scotch eggs. I do fantastic Scotch eggs, but this is the Indian version, which is interesting. UK Zone 9. Moringa is fast growing and relatively trouble free once it is established, and it will thrive in good growing conditions. Zone 9. So Zone 9, I think that includes me. So I could grow it. I think I could grow it. I wonder if Jurassic Plants sell it. That would be, excuse me, good place to look for them. Our local prison had garden, but then dead pigeons stuffed with drugs were thrown over the wall for them to collect. Garden got scaled back to inert grounds only. Well, that's a whole other debate, isn't it? That's a whole other thing. Rebecca says, I think you can eat all of the moringa, seeds, flowers, and leaves. I'm sure you couldn't grow it here, especially with our summers. I'm going to have to find this out. And Jurassic Plants would be the place to grow them or to find them if they do sell them. That's here in the UK, of course. So, by the sounds of it, we could grow it here, but nobody ever has. Jurassic Plants is a place to look. Digwell says, sounds good. I stuff pigeons with rice and tomatoes. Yeah, I don't think that's quite what they're throwing them over the prison gate for, though. Turbo Stream, I would like to go to my local prison. I sometimes cycle past it. I prefer to be a good boy, to be honest. I'm with you, yeah. I would say I want to say I'm privileged enough to have been into prison for a day a few times, but for work. But that was enough to really put me off. It was a scary, scary place to go into, I'll be honest with you. Walking down the corridors and the criminals walk past and go, give us your money, sort of thing. It wasn't pleasant. Never tasted pigeon. I like pigeon. I have eaten it. Just got to be careful for the bits of shot of the gunshot. But it's nice. I quite like it. If it's cooked right, if it's overcooked, it goes really, really rubbery. There we go. Kate says, challenge. Find and grow moringa. There we go. We've got next week's challenge sorted. And in fact, Rebecca has said, I've Googled, they are selling the seeds on Chiltern Seeds. I feel a grow along coming along. Oh, there we go. There we go. We've got a challenge and we got a grow along in one there. Chiltern Seeds. I knew someone would sell them. Can you email me the link, please, so I can remember? Richard@adventuregroundpodcast.co.uk. I've been in a lot of prisons, but always in the grounds. I've been inside, right inside. Horrible, horrible. Stuart says, this is why I love this community, this live. Community gardens to prisons. What's next? Growing on the moon. Did you know the first vegetable to be grown in space was the potato? How do I know that? Because I had to ask that. Well, I researched that question on Radio 2. Turbo Extreme, they use drones these days disguised as pigeons. There must be big pigeons in that area then. But yeah, who would have thought we'd go down this route? Kate says, I lived near a prison, and when I moved out, I found out the prisoners could see into my garden when they shouted at me to get my lady loves out. Oh dear, oh dear. They probably the most some of the most I can't think of a word that I can use politely, but the blokes were probably I'm not going to say it. I can't word it politely, so I'm going to give up with that. Rebecca says this plant is incredible. You can make tea with the flowers. I'm going to be checking it out. I reckon we should all try growing it and see if we can get it to grow. Now, you set me a challenge. This was Jenny's challenge, actually, if I remember correctly, last week, and that was to sort out my seeds. Now, if I was to do all my seeds, it would take a long time. So I've just done a few. It's still quite a long video, I'm afraid, 7 minutes, but let's go see what it's like. So this week you set me the challenge to go through my seed collection and show you how I sort them out. Now, as you can see, I've got quite a few seeds in front of me. Not all my seeds, but there's quite a collection. And it ranges from violas, such as this one here, watermelon, and so on. Now, I keep all my seeds in a fridge inside wooden boxes. That works quite nicely for me. I try and keep them all as organised as I possibly can. But how do I sort them out? So first of all, we've got this one, which is a Viola Symphony Mix. Came from Kitchen Garden. First thing I want to check, is it in date? So by, don't know if you can see it. I'll bring it in. So by September 2023, that says. So that's out of date. We'll get rid of that. Don't need it. Now, some people will say that that seeds are out of date are still good. You can still sow them. But for me, as you can see, this is just a small proportion of all the seeds I have. For me, it's more about trying to make myself a bit more room. And just the out of date for me is a good one. Now this one, these watermelon from She Grows Veg. No actual seeds in there, so that can go as well. Moving on. This one, I've cut the date off the bottom. Sometimes, if we open up the packet, let's have a look. There we go. Sometimes they actually have a date on the packet. They don't. So that could be in date, that could be out of date. I'm going to throw that away because I don't need them. Right, aubergine, early long purple, still in date, so that can stay. Salad leaf, corn salad, out of date, 2023, that went out of date, don't need it. Texel greens, I think these are out of date, they can go. Salad leaves, so by June 2023, it says up there on this one, out of date, they can go. Hot pepper seeds, so by 2024, June 2024, so they're just out of date, so they can go as well. Parsley seeds, So by June 2023, go. Beetroot, June 2023, they can go. Radish, 2023, they can go. Radish Sparkler 3, these are still good till 2025, so they can stay. Now, radish are one that are not brilliant for storage, as are carrots and things like that. Some seeds are only really good for 1 year. Mizuna, September 2023, it can go. So what we got here? Darkmar, Brussels sprouts 2023, they can also go. No point keeping them if they're out of date. Lettuce, these are in good until they were packaged this year, so there's actually no date when these go out of date, but lettuce is normally good for at least a couple of years, so we'll keep hold of that. What have we got? Pak Choi, another Pak Choi, out of date 2023. As you can see, quite a few of these are out of date. Now this is an onion. Onion seeds generally only last for 1 year, so December 2025, we could be lucky with that, so I'm going to keep that one. It's still in date. Broccoli Rab 60, I don't really like growing these, to be honest with you. I very rarely grow them. Goes out of date in December. I think we'll keep hold just in case I do sow them. Beetroot Bolt Hardy, sow by 2024, so we could sow those fairly soon. Could we? We'll keep them. We'll think about that. Chia seeds, packed for 2018. I think they're out of date. What have we got? Celeriac. They were this year, so they can stay. That's an empty packet, so that can go. This is why I say it's sometimes good to go through some of your seeds and see what we got. Fenugreek, which is a type of microgreen or sprouting seed. We'll probably be growing some of that this year actually, so we'll keep hold of that. These are daffodils that I've saved myself, so they're going to need to be planted fairly soon. We'll keep those to one side. Packaged November 24, so we'll keep those. Rhubarb, let's get into these. Dill, what have we got here? So by August 2023, get rid of that. Celery, August 2023, we'll get rid of that. You can see I'm getting rid of quite a few of these seeds. 2023 as well, get rid of them. Cherry Bell Radish 2023. This is becoming quite quick. These are still good till next year. That's Parsnip, Tender and True. As you can see, by using the date for me, it's just a good chance to get rid of all the seeds that may or may not grow. Chances are they will actually grow, but I just use that as a point of saying, no, that's it. They can go. Cayenne chili, they're still in date. They can stay. Leek Musselburgh, still in date. They can stay. Red cabbage, out of date. It can go. Lettuce, Arctic King, out of date. It can go. Kitchen Garden Salad Leaf Wild Rocket, out of date. It can go. Claytonia, never really grown this actually. Out of date. It can go. Tomato there, still in date. We've got to use that next year though. Rocket Wild, still in date. It can stay. Parsley Giant of Italy, still in date. It can stay. More parsley, still in date. It can stay. Get the idea. It's all about just working with what we have and using the dates to get rid of, so that all those seeds have been dramatically reduced down. Now what this means, I will go through my entire seed collection across the next few months, organise them, and if I need any seeds I can buy them in. It's not the end of the world. Right, back to the studio. There we go. So yes, as I said, it was just going through my seeds and getting rid of any that are out of date. It will take me quite a while because I have lots and lots of seeds, but for me, The out of date is just the starting point. If I can get rid of them after that, it just saves me faffing around, to be honest. I get so many seeds. I don't need them. I'm not going to grow them all. It is a bit wasteful, but so would be trying to grow seeds that may or may not germinate. So I've that's for me what I do. Back to the comments. So Chili Cake says, sorry, back home again. It's been a busy weekend, but if I realised the topic, I would have made sure I was home. Yeah, I've got to admit, you were the one that said I need to pop reminders about the topics each week, and I keep forgetting. Excuse me, I keep forgetting to do that, but I will do. I will do. We've just got to get into a routine, haven't I? We have grown seeds that were taken to the moon and then sent out to the schools. Was that with the British astronaut Tim Peake? I think it was called. He took them up into space, and then, but there was differences, weren't there? There was differences with germination and things with those. Anne says, I've just planted some turmeric I bought from a health food store, hoping it might grow indoors this winter. Treat it like a house plant. I grow turmeric. I treat it like a house plant. It's coming to the end of its sort of season, so it will start dying back. But come spring, where the weather really gets warm, that's when it will spring into life. Digler says, I had pelican at a fancy alternate meat restaurant, ostrich alligator sort of place. A lovely taste, but was very surprised at the size of the bill. I'll get my coat. Oh, dearie me, dearie me. I thought I was going to join in because I've eaten ostrich, I've eaten alligator, I've eaten all weird types of meat. But yeah. Turbo Stream, our allotment has just emailed to say the community garden near, that I did not know about, has been vandalised. The community room set on fire. How awful. This is unfortunately one of the risks with community gardens, same as old allotments. You know, there is a risk. Vandals, they're easy targets. Stuart says, I had some seeds given to me this year. 2018 was a sow-buy, Black Russian. Grew well, fruited well, but could sell the plants because I was not sure they would fruit. Probably would have fruited, to be honest with you. If they've grown, that's the battle. It's not so much about a seed is there to grow a plant. And if the plant grows, the chances are you will get fruit. And as Digwell says, a case of diminishing returns with using old seed. Exactly my point. You could sow your old seeds. They could come up, they could not, but you've wasted all that compost and time and materials trying to get them to germinate. And that's why I just sort of say, no, that's it. They're out window. That's it. I have so many seeds to sort out too. One for a rainy day, I think. I mean, this year it's all been rain, isn't it? There's been plenty of rainy days. That's absolutely horrible. Turbo Stream talking about the vandalism. Of course it is. How do you get on with mole seeds? I get no problems with them actually. They're very quick at delivery. Prices are good, are not wholesale prices. There is one company that is better, but the prices aren't quite as good. Premier Seeds are better, but some things aren't quite as cheap, even with my discount code, which I forget what it is at the moment. It always makes me happy to see community garden, but they're often empty. We need more of them. I think we need more of them. I think they need to be more visible, though. Maybe we could post all our surplus seeds on the Facebook page to swap or share. That's an idea. I'm happy for you to do that. Just got to be careful that if you, excuse me, if you're sharing your email, your address with people, be careful with what you do there. Parsnip and carrot, 1 year only, not worth the wait and pain when nothing pops up. Absolutely. And onion as well is another one. 1 year only, the seeds are good for fresh seeds each year. You know, unless like you've got a particular variety you think might be okay, but don't rely on it. Sow several, but make sure you get fresh seed at the same time. I send a lot of my unwanted seeds to my mate in the Falkland Islands as they can't get as many sorts as we get. I hear that actually, same as in Ireland, I believe. Perhaps our Irish audience can tell us more about what's going on over there with seeds. But these are out-of-date seeds, which basically the out-of-date is quality control for the the seed companies, is the way I understand it. It's awful. Yes, it's a mess. Tomato seeds last 10 years if they are processed properly in the first place. And don't forget storage conditions as well. Does rely on storage conditions. You know, I keep mine in a fridge, in wooden boxes, so they're I'm throwing some of those silica gel packets as well. So it keeps the seeds dry, it keeps them at a constant temperature. But if you're just leaving them in a shed where it's damp and hot and cold, then that affects how well the seeds store as well. Chili Cake, we have a compost event at a community garden next weekend. I'll post photos of how it's getting on. My worry is coming with me and are always very popular. Please do, Chili Cake. That would be great. I'd love to see them. Turbo Stream says, I'm sure a community garden would benefit from spare seeds. Perhaps we should donate any spares to our local gardens. That's not a bad idea. That is not a bad idea at all, actually. And that tallies quite nicely with what we're talking about. Donate spare seeds. Yeah, donate spare seeds. Yeah, to community gardens, I'm sure they would benefit from them. Digwell says, mole seeds, very good. Seed Mega Store, good too. I didn't have a great thing with Seed Mega Store, if I'm honest. Took a very long time for them to arrive. And I'm talking months. Turbo Stream, my saved parsnips from 2 years ago came up after I forgot to save any last year. See, Turbo Stream's hit on something that I do find that happens as well. You sow some seeds. My nose is really itchy again. But you sow some seeds, parsnip, carrots, something like that, nothing comes up. And you think to yourself, oh, well, they failed. And then a year later, they come up, which is really, really annoying. But it's all about the conditions being right for those seeds. They just germinated when it was right for those. And when we first sowed them, the conditions just weren't right for any number of reasons. Jenny says, I've sown old seeds direct as a ground cover. I was never going to harvest them, just wanted something to grow, something growing to help keep healthy soil full of life. A bit like green manure of what I had. That could work. That could definitely work. I mean, I like green manures anyway. I do sow lots of green manures. If anybody has mustard seeds, though, that's a type of green manure that can be used as well. It's very good for making your soil poorer as well, if you'd want to grow wildflower seeds. I have 3 biscuit tins, which are full of seeds. 1 veg, flowers and herbs, far too many for one person. You imagine having a fridge full of seeds then. 3 biscuit tins would be a dream, in my opinion. I've got a fridge full. Philly says, I was asking about what it's like in Ireland for seeds. Still the same. If anyone wants to help me, Ballyston allotment out and the Shipyard Garden out, you are more than welcome. We are beside each other on the allotment. Yeah, I will say I have been sending some seeds to Ireland. And as far as I know, they've got in there. But it is risky. It is risky because they could end up being stopped along the way. But as far as I know, all my seeds get delivered in Ireland when one customer I have there. I'm trying to do a deal with mole seeds for cheaper prices. Are you doing the wholesale or the normal seeds? Because there's a big difference. Big difference, trust me. Stuart says you can also place the out-of-date seeds on a bit of kitchen paper until they start to grow. Yeah, my nose is really itchy. It's really annoying me. What Stuart's talking about there is what's it called? Pre-shooting, pre-germination. A lot of people do it with parsnip seeds, just testing them out to see if they start to sprout. And if they do, you know the seeds are good. That is one way out of it. But again, it's just more work. I'd rather just get rid of the seeds and deal with the loss. My personal opinion. Kate says, I've started a new subscription with Heritage Organic Seeds, and the first month was great. Is that the ones that they send out Heritage Organic Seeds for you to grow, but you're acting as a seed bank, so you're meant to be saving some of these seeds each week as well, each time as well, to try and keep the heritage varieties going. I think it's a great idea, absolutely brilliant idea, but it takes up a lot of land if you're doing that as well. Let me know what you need. Never had an issue sending seeds over. Same here. Turbo Stream says, sorry, I forgot to save seeds last year. So I sowed seeds from previous years, saved parsnips, so they were at least 2 years old. You can get away with it. Don't get me wrong. You can get away with it. But it's just risky. It's just risk. I wouldn't rely on it, is the point. I wouldn't rely on it. I would only do it if I've got other seeds to sow at the same time, just in case they don't germinate. 200 plus packs of seeds, just flowers. I've got over 1,000 packs of seeds. Over 1,000. A lot. I have stacks of seeds. Philly going spare. Happy to send you guys loads over. There we go. Digwell says to Rob, cheaper, Skinflint. They are one of the cheapest for long life seeds. They really are. I buy loads of seeds from Miles and send them out to the Falklands. Yeah, there we go. I mean, can we send seeds to the Falklands? I'm always worried about sending seeds abroad because I don't like the idea of sending seeds where they shouldn't go. But I know I've been sent seeds from Canada and America in the past, but I'm always worried about doing the same. I know Jersey we can send seeds to, and Guernsey as well. Falklands, is that one that we're allowed to? From a legal point of view. Had quite a few problems with HSL. Not all roses. What's HSL? HSL. Not all roses. HSL. And have I missed a comment there? I think I've missed a comment. Oh, Heritage Seed Library. Sorry, Heritage Seed Library. Right. Last year, I spent over £1,000 with them. Yeah, you can get good deals. If you go and have a chat, you can get good deals. I haven't got a contact from Moles at the moment, but I will do. Saved seeds this year from this year's parsnips. Excellent. Richard, are you planning to try anything new, veg/fruit? Anyone else going to try anything new? I always try something new each year. I'm going to be trying this margarine tree, whatever it is, the challenge that you've sent me. That's going to be one that I'm really going to try as a new thing. Whether it's going to be the only one, I don't know. I try something new each year. I've just got to come up with some ideas. There is some thornless varieties of gooseberries I want to try as well. So, yeah. Let's see. Rob, the Falklands are a British dependency. No problem sending anything legal. I do know a British dependency, but I didn't know if it fell into the whole like Guernsey, Jersey. So thank you. Makes sense. Supplying the bennies. There we go. And Digwell, Kate says to Digwell, it's a different company. This is a Heritage Organic Seed Company. Gotcha, indeed. I haven't checked Instagram. Anything going on Instagram? Shell on Earth says, I tried growing chickpeas this year. Big fail. Chickpeas, they need a hot summer. Hopefully you're still watching, so I keep forgetting to check Instagram. They need a hot summer, a good summer to really get anything. I've grown them in the past, and we did all right out of them, but they do need a good summer to grow. Just looking through, we've got Skinny Jean Gardener, home at Spring Cottage, also on Instagram. Apologies to Shell on Earth. I don't know how long ago you put that comment up. Oh, no, it's still there. Great to see your bag in the background, just like you told me at Glee. There you go. Told you, didn't I? It's right there. Excellent stuff. Product placement going on there. Kate says, I'm trying Strawberry Tree this year from Jurassic Plants. They do have some funky varieties. Also got lemon trees, and a bit nervous in that one. Jurassic Plants are the company I'm thinking of for this Marjo, I forgot what it's called. But hopefully Rebecca's sent me the link so I can remind myself about it. Looking forward to trying it. We have got under 10 minutes left to go tonight. So we have figured out already what the challenge for next week is going to be to find this plant that we've been talking about. So what I need from you guys is something that you would want me to cook next week. One recipe, something like that. Ideally, something we're harvesting from the garden or the allotment at the moment. So onions, tomatoes, anything like that. Rebecca says moringa. I'll send you a link. Thank you. Thank you. And Rob says need more beer. Of course we do. Of course we do. Gotta keep checking Instagram with this this network. It doesn't quite work as well as it did. Yeah, so I need a recipe for next week. And for a subject, I was thinking we might have a really boring conversation and talk about sheds. What do you think on that? Sheds. We all have them. Not the most exciting thing in the world, although I do love a good shed because I think it's my sanctuary. And I'm in the market for a new shed. So I want to have a talk about sheds. We don't have to do that subject next week, but I thought that might be something we could all discuss. Have we done sheds before, though? We're thinking about it, or have we? I can't remember now. My new seeds, chili cakes there for 2024 was Austrian tree cabbage. They look great, but not harvested anything yet. You sent me the seeds, didn't you? And I can't remember what happened to them. I don't think they quite germinated here. But yeah, I remember those very, very well. Falkland Islanders were called beanies by the military because they looked like Benny from Crossroads with their bubble hats. I don't even know what Crossroads is, so show how young I am here. Digwell says we were cool when I was on the Ark Royal. When I was in Bermuda, I can't read that tonight. Katie, they sound great. Kate, they sound great. Sorry. Please send me that link later. Kate says, I'll be on holiday next week, so sadly won't make it. It's a shame. Digwell says, sheds are cool. And Jenny says, oh, shed. I have exciting plans for my shed. Winter project, game changer. Fantastic. Good. We will discuss sheds next week then. All we need from you now is a suggestion of some sort of recipes. Keep an eye over on Instagram. Philly6226 is joined over on Instagram. So looking for a recipe to cook next week. There's got to be something you can suggest. Trying to think what we're harvesting at the moment. Ideally, it'd be something that involves that. TurboStream says, I want a new small potting shed / grow house, but I only have a small area to put one in. Hold fire on that, TurboStream, because there might be something in the pipeline that I can maybe get you a little deal with. I'll put it like that. Just hold fire. I'm in conversations. But we're looking at something like this. That's why I want to have a bit of a chat about it next week. Rebecca says tomatoes. What would you like me to cook with tomatoes? Perhaps we could do a tomato chutney or tomato sauce. Excuse me. What do you think? Anything like that? I'm certainly got quite a few tomatoes to use from that. Mixed veg from allotment frittata is an idea from Digwell. Rebecca's just got in there slightly with tomatoes. We could do tomatoes in the frittata, though, of course. TurboStream says, I will wait then. Excellent. Okay. What have we got going on over here? I picked some nice tomatoes today. I've had so many tomatoes lately. We're doing really, really well tomatoes, although I have seen on the allotment blight. So we've got to keep a close eye on our tomatoes at home. It hasn't affected my tomatoes at home at the moment, but blight is making a horrible appearance. We want to get rid of that, of course. And hope for the best. But yeah, tomato frittata is looking like something we might have to do. Dan says, got any aubergine? Cook baba ganoush. Aubergines. I haven't got any that are ripe just yet. They've been a bit struggled for aubergines this year. We've had a couple, but just because it hasn't been hot enough, we haven't really got any aubergines. But baba ganoush, remember that for the week after, because actually I think we might have some ready for the week after. We're going to go for tomato frittata. Tomatoes, but I didn't grow any this year. I'm not a huge fan of them. And Kate says, I've posted links to the Facebook group. Fantastic, fantastic. Anybody got anything? The Messy Allotment tier has joined over on Instagram. Welcome along. Lovely to see you. Shame. It's a shame I can't bring the comments up over on Instagram. Tomato recipe. Oh. This is one of my favorite. I can never pronounce it. Shashuka. We're doing that. We are doing that because that is one of my mouth is watering. Shashuka. One of my favorites. Such an easy thing to cook. And it uses eggs as well. Shakshuka. I can't pronounce it, but I love it. It's a great for breakfast, great for dinner. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Gary. Everybody okay with that? Everybody okay with that? Because it is absolutely one of my favorites. Right, 2 minutes to go. So we're going to start packing up. Anybody got anything they want to add about a community garden? Anybody got any final thoughts on community gardening? As I said, not tomorrow, but the week after, there is going to be a podcast all about this community garden that I've been wandering around and talking to the gardener with. That'll be coming up in a couple of weeks' time. Miss J is asking for a green tomato chutney. If anyone got one, thank you. I'm sure we can throw that in the Facebook group for you. There's plenty out there. What else have we got? Oh, no pics. Oh, thank you. There are pics. Thank you. Thank you. I nearly forgot about the pics. I spent time putting these pictures together, so I better go through those quickly. First of all, Shipyard Gardener is trimming Billy's plum tree. He said the plums were too high for him to pick, but he is trimming a tree with a chainsaw because why not? Why not? Anne's harvested all these squashes, a big box of squash and plenty there. Steve is singing the praises about straw bale gardening. He's had a lot of success with straw bale gardening this year. Something that I've been watching very closely and hoping we will try and replicate here at home next week. Amanda is after some advice with her melons. She's saying they've started to sort of die back and we think it's just got too cold for them now. So harvest what you can. They could still ripen on a windowsill. So don't bin them just yet, but hope for the best. Stuart's found a bargain. All these forks, I think from Asda, 62p each. Just perfect for the school garden or even community gardens, funnily enough. Gary has had some rather excellent Belotti beans, and I love Belotti beans. Mine were not a success this year, but Belotti beans, we've got some saved seed, and they look fantastic, don't they? Nathan says finally he's got some success with the celery. Love celery, and this beautiful pink celery looks absolutely lovely. Now, Ian has found myself and a few other podcasters in his local gardening magazine, The Country Gardener. I'm off tomorrow to try and get into a garden centre and get a copy for myself because I like seeing myself in the magazine, to be quite frank with you. If anybody is in Dorset, Hampshire, go grab yourself a copy of The Country Gardener. It's free in most garden centres, as I understand it. Chili Kate has harvested all this lot. There's some beans, potatoes, tomatoes, chard, broccoli, courgettes. All looks absolutely delicious and plenty there. Now, Beddoes humour. He's found himself a new garden bed. I got to say, I like these. I think they look really, really attractive while still being able to be used for grow food in. Now, Andy, he's using this scale in the future. I don't know if you can see it very well, but it's a who wants to be a millionaire question. And the answers are no diggity, hardly any diggity, a fair amount of diggity, and I can't read that last one. No diggity. I can't read it. Lots of diggity. It brings a whole new meaning to the term digwell as well, doesn't it? Please do keep sharing your photos. I'll try not to forget them again. Post them in our Facebook group, send to me via social media, or email me, richard@veggroundpodcast.co.uk. Just quickly, Digwell says it's an online mag. No, it's actually it's a physical magazine as well, but they do it online. I want a proper copy because I'm sad like that. I've got every magazine, every newspaper article I've ever been in. I've kept a copy of it, so I'm sad like that. What have we got? Anything that? What have we got? Not seen Scott this week, and no, Bally has been absent lately. Hope they are okay. I'm wondering the same thing. I'm Scott as well. I know Scott's just started a new job, so I'm wondering if that's why he's not here. But yeah, Bally as well. I was wondering the same thing. Perhaps Billy can fill us in on that. Or let him know that we're thinking about him as well. Jenny says, Bugger forgot to send the photos in. I'll go for them next week. Is it Bellotti or Bellotto? Confuses me. It confuses me as well. I never know what the difference between the two is. I forget to take pictures. Never mind sending them in. Yeah, I'm the same. I forget to take pictures. Great pictures again. Thank you. Idaho says, well, way to go, Nathan. I've never been fully successful with celery. Yeah, I love celery. It needs a lot of water. That's the secret to it. Stuart says, see you again next week. Haha, Garden Bed says, Idaho, your beard is looking great, Richard. Thank you. Thank you. I quite like it because it's getting nice and long here. And I'm trying to really grow down there. I'll send you a please monthly with you here. I'll still keep it. I will still keep it. It helps with my ego. It's not sad, Richard. The cartoons are great to look back on. I know. See you next week. Richard, that's not sad. Be proud. I am proud. That's why I keep them. I've still got a radio pits. I mean, I record the radio when I'm on it as well. So, okay, folks, another great live. Thanks for the chat and take care. It is time to wrap this up, isn't it? And get out of here. We've gone well into overtime. So we're going to talk about sheds next week. We're going to be cooking that word. And we're going to be trying to find this elusive plant. Take care, guys. See you all again next Sunday at 6. Until then, happy gardening.